Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. Welcome back if you're already a subscriber to the YouTube channel. If you're not already a subscriber to MMA Fancast on YouTube, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now. Always an honor to have a first-time guest on the show. And this first-time guest on the show is 9 days away from his upcoming amateur MMA debut inside the 247 Fighting Championship cage on March 14th. For 247 Fighting at the venue 5. I'm still trying to get that. It's 247 MMA at the venue 5, which the venue is Sunny Days Arena at the venue. So very excited. All that to say, welcome, Nicholas Eppihimer. Nick, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on the show. Always an honor having a first-time guest. You are making your amateur MMA debut, which is super exciting, but you have been inside the 247 cage before. Back at their most recent event in January, you fought Muay Thai. And even though it ended up being a loss, what was your takeaway as far as not only fighting Muay Thai, but also seeing what 247 has to offer as a promotion?
Yeah, it was definitely an experience, not something I've ever had the privilege of experiencing before, but already having been in there, it kind of makes me realize like not to make the moment bigger than it really is. I mean, it was obviously my first time in there, so I was a little nervous, but I went out there, I fought, I didn't get my head kicked off or anything. That was
Could
good.
be worse. Could be worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. And coming out of that, it was just kind of like I can tell a lot. I have a lot more confidence this time around, versus, your first time. But it was I really like the venue, and I really like it's at the same place as it was for my Muay Thai fight.
Yeah,
But
it'll all be very similar. That's one of the nice things about, which is very impressive for 247, the owner, Ryan Middleton, GM, Hunter Hamastak. We talked about it for years. They wanted an actual event venue that they owned that was part of the 247 brand. And so instead of moving around, which was great, it was fun to go to different events and venues and stuff. But the Sunny Days Arena is now theirs. And so all their events are there. And so I'm sure it is in many ways nicer for the fighters because it's a great setup, but you get used to the walkout and just everything comfortability wise.
yeah.
Well, because this is your debut, and as far as MMA goes, what was your athletic background prior to any martial arts or training MMA, or has that kind of been your background even before MMA?
So pretty much it's always been my background. The Taekwondo thing, I did that probably starting when I was 9 years old and did that all the way up until I was in 10th grade. I got all the way up to my second degree black belt. So that was kind of the big thing for me for growing up as a kid. Switched over to wrestling in high school, did that for 3 years. I've done some tournaments for that outside after graduating.
Okay.
Um, then pretty much took up some jiu-jitsu, and yeah, here we are now.
Well, yeah, obviously being the second degree black belt in Taekwondo. And did you compete in wrestling in high school? Or was it more just fun? I know you said
Oh,
afterwards
I
you
competed,
also
yeah.
competed. And
Mhm.
uh, did that start after Taekwondo or for a period of time were you doing both?
So before the sophomore year, which is when I started wrestling, I was doing kind of both. But once the actual season started, I was done with the Taekwondo, and
And
it
so, in a
became
way, you were kind of giving yourself a mixed martial arts experience, a striking art,
yeah.
and then right into grappling. What has that transition been like? Those, bunch of years doing taekwondo, which obviously is a beautiful, beautiful striking sport, but not grappling at all. What was it
Yeah.
like the learning curve of grappling starting as a sophomore?
First year, it was pretty rough. I went out there, there was nobody at my weight. I was 138 pounds soaking wet. So I went out there as a first year wrestler, wrestling varsity. It was a pretty stacked weight class. It was
Yeah.
definitely a learning curve, but it made me better in the long run for sure. I mean, it was definitely good. I got my butt kicked a few times, and but
Well,
yeah.
yeah, wrestling can be like that, particularly when you're the starter because nobody else is at your weight class. But one of the things about wrestling, besides the physical, which is obviously incredibly challenging, but mentally, every once in a while people score sports. Wrestling's always up there as mentally tough because when
Hmm.
you get stuck in a bad position, it's not always as easy as, oh, you're pinned and you're out of there. A lot of
Oh
times
no,
things can just keep going and going, and you have to be willing to fight and resist the best of your ability. And even though it's a losing battle at times, you're learning through the process,
absolutely.
resisting and learning. So that's great. When did you kind of start really training MMA? And has it always been at Progressive Martial Arts MMA in Altoona?
So I'd say I really started training MMA specifically um, right before my senior year of wrestling. I did a lot of MMA before that year of wrestling. Then I kind of switched to the wrestling aspect because the season had started, and kind of took a break from the MMA training just because practice every day with wrestling. There wasn't really a whole lot of time for specific MMA training. Progressive, I'd probably been here about 8 months or so now.
Okay.
I haven't been here super long. But no, it definitely it's definitely good training, and get a lot of good work in here.
And do you have like partners you often spar with or work with, and kind of
Oh
what's
yeah.
the strategy of, I believe, and I could be wrong, I don't really remember the name Progressive Martial Arts a lot. Obviously, you already fought Muay Thai for 247, so you've been around. But I would imagine it's a growing, like, how many fighters do you have that are taking fights? And are you kind of one of their first to kind of go
One
out
of the
there?
first. So right now, like as far as people fighting out of the gym, it's just me and Jacob Kennedy,
Okay.
who he's fought on the past two cards, I believe it has been. Yeah, he fought on the same one in January as me, and then
Okay.
he fought on one in, I believe it was November.
Great. I remember the name, which means I've watched him fight. I may have even interviewed him.
Yeah,
I did. Okay, good.
you might have. I
I
think you
might
did.
have.
I know you interviewed his opponent. I don't know if you interviewed him or not,
Oh,
but
see, I might not have. I always try to reach out to both sides. What's fun about this, I've already interviewed George Shaibi just actually a couple hours ago. I interviewed him. I get the opportunity to interview both sides, which is what I prefer, but I don't always
yeah.
interview both sides of the fight if somebody is busy or can't get back to me or whatever it is. But that is great, and being at a gym where there's focus and you and Jacob are taking fights,
Yeah.
that's going to develop the gym. It's going to bring more people in as far as the fight camp goes, and that's what can be really cool. What are your thoughts on taking on George? It's his first MMA fight in 4 years because he stepped away, some family stuff, and then he had a Muay Thai fight on the same card. You had a Muay Thai fight, and now he's back. He has a one-on-one amateur MMA record, obviously also a Muay Thai fight. And you're new to MMA. So, what are your thoughts on George?
I think he's a tough opponent. I mean, he's not a debut. I mean, I can, kind of picture, how he probably fights, but I know he's going to be tough, and I know he's going to, be game. He's coming there to win. Um, I know he's a Marine veteran, so I know he's tough for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure I think you did an interview with him before that I watched.
Yeah,
Um, and he said he was deployed to combat. So I'm sure he's
yeah,
definitely going to be a tough guy. But I mean,
sure,
I'm
yeah,
excited for it. It's not a bad thing to go in there against somebody who has some experience and has been in there before multiple times and is tough.
Well, right. And when you think about it, I've often said this many years ago. Brian Stan, who was a Marine combat vet and actually earned and was awarded the Silver Star, he fought in UFC. I didn't know him, but I just knew of him. And I think it is nice. Hats off to George. It's also nice to know that no one's dying. This is a sport. There's
Oh
safety
yeah.
in there. These are rules. And clearly, when it comes to the Marines being the greatest fighting force out there, that it's an honor for you, to not only fight him,
Hmm.
but I thanked him for his service and welcome him home. 3 combat deployments, and Marines have that special ability, when it comes to fighting. But I know Brian Stan always said, because people would comment about the UFC or about MMA being like a war, being like a battle, and people will say, "Oh, I'm willing to die," and he's like, "Guys, that's not what's actually happening. It's a sport,
No,
right? Like we don't want anyone to die. We don't even want really
no,
anybody to get that badly hurt." Many years ago, there was a fighter. Hats off to him. He's recovered well, but he landed on his elbow wrong and it like flipped inside out. And it was like broken and really gross. And we're not even going for that, right? We want
no,
to be good fights. We don't want anything crazy. That's why usually Chip Snyder or another referee, and Chip Snyder is a Marine combat vet in there. So usually he's the referee, but that's why you've got a referee. It's why you've got rules and all of that. What do you
absolutely.
what do you think is going to be the biggest like mental change between Muay Thai? You've already been in the cage,
Hmm.
same walk, that's all good. But what do you think is going to be the main mental change between your Muay Thai debut and your MMA debut?
So a few things. I mean, my opponent for my Muay Thai fight was like 6'4", 6'5".
Wow, okay.
He was a pretty tall dude. That was something in itself, mentally like, wow, okay, this guy is pretty stinking tall. I don't know how I'm supposed to get around his reach. Um, George is, I believe, around my height. He's 5'11", so we're like the same height. That's going to be one thing that off the bat, we're going to be similar in reach, similar in height, so that'll be a little more evenly matched up. I like MMA more than Muay Thai. I can use all my tools, instead of just like picking out a couple and that's all I can do. I can mix up the wrestling and grappling and striking. And that's why I like MMA. I don't like the sports like, where you have stuff like you're limited on what you can do. MMA is, I think, the purest form of fighting, and you can just use every tool you have to get the win.
Well, it's a great mindset to have, particularly with making your amateur MMA debut. Just 9 days away. Very exciting. People can get tickets directly from you or at the gym, probably. Plus, 247fighting.com is the only official place to buy tickets. Give Nick Eppihimer credit when you're signing up. You're doing it that way. And if you're not able to physically come, but you're going to be buying the pay per view, make sure you do not click on any of the spam links that'll be all over Facebook. And they really try to push the fake pay per view. Only buy pay per view from either 247fighting.com or the app itself, 247 Live. I often give 247 Fighting Championship, Ryan and Hunter, a shout out for having an app. That's pretty high level to have an app out there. It's great. They have an app of a catalog, and people can buy the pay per view through there, and of course, give you credit on there. That's able to be played on any smart device, and so you end up being able to play it on a TV or whatever that is. So if anybody's watching you from a distance, they can get the 247 Live app. That's a great way to make sure you're actually buying the correct feed and all that. It's been very exciting having you on the show. Thanks so much for taking time.
I
My honor
appreciate it.
to have a first time guest on the show anytime. Congratulations on your upcoming fight. My name is Luke
Thank you.
Basin, special guest tonight on the show. Just 9 days away from his amateur MMA debut is Nicholas Eppihimer. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Can't wait to
Hey,
see you
thank you.
March 14th at Sunny Days Arena at the venue for 247 Fighting Championships, 247 MMA at the venue. 5. Take care. Can't wait to see you there. Have a
Hey,
great night.
thank you for having me.